Hey guys, it's Free from the Gamersphere Network, and in this video I'm going to show you my build for the Magma Priestess, as I'm calling it. You can see right now I'm actually in Merciless, the hardest difficulty. I'm in Act 2. Let's see, I'm currently level 65, and this is on Hardcore, so if I die, I'm out of Hardcore League, and I'm back at Softcore. So I haven't died yet, which is good. I'll take a little bit look at my skill tree, and then I'll sort of explain what I'm doing. And then I'll explain what you need to make this build work for you. So here's the initial starting point for Witch, and if you've never played Path of Exile before, basically you have these little nodes, these large nodes here, and there's 7 of them, 1 for each character. Scion starts in the middle, Templar starts here, Marauder, Duelist, Ranger, Shadow, and then Witch. So the Witch always starts at the top. And in the beginning, you can choose to sort of go along a tree of spell damage and cast speed, or you can go energy shield and mana regeneration to the right. So for this build, I'm going to be using the skill Magma Orb, which lobs a fiery orb that explodes as it strikes the ground. And it chains 1 time, so when you throw the Magma Orb, it will bounce off the ground and bounce an additional time, so it can hit twice, which is really great, because you're getting a lot of AoE damage. And I'm also using a decoy totem, a chaos golem, and then I'm using a curse, which is elemental weakness, which increases my fire damage. So that's just a basic on the skills I'm using. But the fire orb tends to do a decent amount of damage, but it has a lot of mana cost, and it's kind of slow to cast. So you want to you don't really want to go along this spell damage and cast speed, even though I just said you need cast speed. You want to go and build up your energy shield to start and get yourself nice and tanky, because you're playing hardcore, hopefully, and so you want to be able to survive all that burst damage. So I went ahead and I traveled up and got myself some energy shield nodes, and then I got Deep Wisdom at the end there, which gives me mana and energy shield. And then one thing I recommend you getting is coming over to the side here and getting Avoid Interruption while casting. Because you're a witch, you're going to be casting spells quite a lot, and if a monster comes up and tries to, stun you and you're in the middle of the cast, well, he's going to block that. He's going to prevent that from happening. So I just like to get these because they really help, and it can kind of transition you in your passive tree to kind of move in a different direction. So this is a very giant tree, and I'm not going to go off and describe every single little branch here and there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have an article where I'm going to post links to a website called PoEbuilder.com, and you can see the whole trees here for the game. And then what you can do is you can come in here and I can actually click in nodes and show you what my build is. And then you can kind of follow that. So I'm gonna make 2 or maybe 3 different types of builds for the Witch. There'll be a phase 1, which will be like the initial path you take when you're leveling up, and then there'll be a phase 2 build where you will start to push into the higher difficulties, and you're gonna need more survivability for that part of the game. And then the final build will be like an in-game build where once you've gotten to level 70, level 75, maybe level 80. Then you can start going for lots of damage, and that'll be the final build. So I'll give a link to the PoE Builder, which will show you the breakdown of each phase of the build. But for right now, I'm just going to sort of fly over a little bit more and show you some things that are definitely essential if you're planning on playing this build, and things that make it much easier. So let's go to normal act. So when you first start out the game, you go and you kill Hillock, and then you come to town here. And you can use the initial skill that you got, or you can grab a Magma Orb. And so I believe the Magma Orb is either bought, it's not bought, but it's given to you at the beginning of the game by one of the NPCs in this town, or it's one of the first quests. So you get the Magma Orb skill really early. You don't have to go off and buy it from another player, or wait until you're level 30 to get the skill. The skill is given to you very early. And then what couples really nice with the Magma Orb, and it bouncing twice and doing lots of area effect damage, is this unique item here. Asenath's Gentle Touch. This is a unique silk glove, and it doesn't have amazing properties, but it has a unique property that you can't get on other items, really. And that's the curse enemies with temporal chains on hit. So every time I hit an enemy with an auto attack or a skill or a spell, something like that, it's going to cast temporal chains on them. And so temporal chains, it slows the enemy's attack speed, it slows their cast speed, and it slows their movement speed. So it kind of puts them in this slow mode. And that allows you to react faster, you take less damage because they're attacking slower, they're casting less spells. So this really will help you level a lot faster, and it'll add a lot of survivability to your build. Because when you're going through and leveling up and killing monsters, you're going to have this Magma Orb. And I'm going to actually take off one of my skills, take off my GMP real quick. So you're going to have this Magma Orb, and you're only going to have one, but you can see it bounces, so you can get some good damage, some good AoE damage, right? And if you have this unique item, then every time you hit them, they will actually have that temporal chains on them. But since I'm in Act 1, I'm killing everything instantly on normal. So then what happens? You get the Asenath's Gentle Touch for your uniques, and that's pretty much all you need at the beginning of the build. You need that and the Magma Orb. And then as you go through the game and you start to complete more quests and get more rewards, you'll unlock more skill gems that you can use. And at some point you want to grab yourself a faster casting. That way you can cast your Magma Orbs faster. So this is the speed with faster casting, and the speed without faster casting is much slower. See that. So you want to grab yourself a faster casting so you can really get a lot of Magma Orbs out. And then another thing I grabbed was Fire Penetration. Since we're using a fire skill, it seems pretty logical that we would want Fire Penetration, because we're going to run into monsters that have resistances. Some of them may even be immune to fire, but a lot of them are going to have resistances to fire. And we need to make sure that we have some fire penetration to break through and be able to kill those people, but also that enemies that don't have fire resistance, we're just going to kill them even faster, because they may have only 20% fire resistance, and then we're penetrating 32%, so they're at negative 12 of it. So this will allow you to get a lot more damage out of your single skill. So that's usually the order you want to get things. You probably want to get a faster casting, and then a fire penetration. And then once you've gotten pretty far, or maybe you have accumulated some currency, you want to get yourself a greater multiple projectiles. And this adds 4 additional projectiles, but the projectiles do less damage. So it's sort of a trade-off, but remember, with the theme of the build, we're doing lots of AoE fire damage, so we kind of want more projectiles. Plus, every time we hit something, we cast this temporal chains. So adding more projectiles means we're going to be hitting more stuff. So I'm actually going to go ahead and head to a higher difficulty so I can show you the cursing on this build. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to head to, let's see, let's go Act 3. And then I'll just go to City of Sarn to start. It's a level 48 area, so it should be fine. Level 65. So with the GMPs, you see I now fire 5. And every time I hit them, they're cursed with temporal chains. You can see that purple bubble on them right there. So this is sort of, this is the build here. It's pretty easy once you get set up. You don't really need a lot of gear to make this work, because the temporal chain slows the enemies down so you can react faster. And then you just have so much AoE with the 5 Magma Orbs that you can just damage large groups. So there's that. And then what happens if you get in trouble? You sort of need some kind of bailout if you get in trouble, and that is where the decoy totem comes in. So the decoy totem, basically it taunts the enemies and makes them attack the decoy totem, and it'll last for a certain period of time, or it'll just be destroyed when they destroy its life. So right now they're attacking it, and then I can just sit here and throw Magma Orbs at them. Look at that, they're all dead.
Life is short, deal with it.
So that's sort of the generics of the build. There is one final thing that will probably help you a little bit with the build in the beginning of the game, and that is after I sort of built up my energy shield with this branching over here, I split off and went this way. I picked up Mind Over Matter, so whenever I'm hit, 30% of my damage is taken from mana before life. So this actually reduces your damage quite a bit, and it also makes your mana pool sort of like be part of your health, because when you get hit, part of that damage is allocated towards the mana. But after I did that, I sort of traveled up this branch here over here, and I picked up Whispers of Doom. And this allows enemies to have one additional curse. And this is helpful because as I'm hitting them with the Magma Orbs and applying that temporal chains, they have a curse on them. That is a curse. So other people won't be able to curse because it'll just go on top of that curse and cancel it out. Monsters can, by default only have one curse on them. But with the Whispers of Doom, I can now apply 2 curses. And so now I can run up to a pack, and let's say I decoy totem to get them to attack the decoy totem. I cast my Elemental Weakness curse, and now I hit them with the Magma Orbs. So now they have Temporal Chains on them and Elemental Weakness. So they're slower, they attack slower, they cast slower, and now they're going to be taking lots more damage because we got the fire damage AoE, we got fire penetration, and then we have a curse of Elemental Weakness, which curses the enemies and they lose 34% Elemental Weakness. So 34% Elemental Weakness from our curse, and then another 30% from the fire penetration. So if this guy has any fire resistance and it's not maxed out to like the 80s or the 90s, then the monsters are just going to melt and they're just going to burn from all this fire damage that we're dishing out. So I'm just going to kind of clear this up here and then head back to town. Okay, so here's a rare monster, and he's got the attribute allies deal substantially more physical damage. So that's something that usually would kill a witch pretty fast in higher difficulties. Is a fast monster that does lots of physical damage. But if we just use our decoy totem, get them off us, and we cast some magma orbs like that to melt all these guys down. Our decoy totem goes down, we just put it right back up. Just move to a new area, and then we just launch a full-scale magma orb attack. Okay. They're chasing me here. That up. And so another mechanism here is that this rare monster here, he has a bubble shield. So I can't actually hurt him unless I'm standing in melee range. So I'm going to go ahead and get in here. I'm going to pop a granite flask and just melt him. That easy. Granite flasks give you lots of additional armor. And as a witch, you're not going to have a lot of armor. So you might want to look into getting some granite flasks to boost your armor every now and then when you are getting hit by melee attacks. Just press your granite and you'll take a lot less damage from that. As far as gear goes, you're going to want to focus on life regen, and resistance at the beginning of the game. And then as you sort of transition into the later parts of the game, you're going to want to focus on your energy shield and your resistances. Because the whole point of being a witch and the whole point of picking up all these really nice energy shield nodes that start out at the beginning of the witch branching is to have a really high energy shield. And you can see I have about 2,000 life, but I also have about 2,000 energy shield. And this just makes it so that I'm really hard to kill, because my energy shield is always recharging if I'm not being hit. And so this buffers a lot of damage. And then as soon as my energy shield's gone, then they have to go through all the life. And I'm also stacking a little bit of armor here and there, like my helmet is armor right now, but most of my other gear is energy shield. And so this just gives you a nice mix of armor, energy shield, and life. And with all that, you're going to be pretty tanky as a witch. And then with your magma orb and your greater multiple projectiles, you're just going to be able to dish out a lot of damage. And I really have not had too much of a problem with the harder difficulties. The only thing that I did have to do sort of towards the mid-game when I was over here in this branch pattern was I had to come over here and pick up more life as well as chaos resistance, this is kind of in a good spot, this right here, because it's right next to some fire damage nodes. So I branched over this way to get some life and some chaos resistance for like Act 3 and Act 4, because there's more chaos damage in those acts. And then later into my build, I'll come up here and I'll pick up some more fire damage. So that's the video part of the guide. If you want more information about the build, if you want to get those PoE builder links that I was talking about for the different phases of the build, just go ahead and head over to the Gamersphere website. There'll be an article linked in the section below, and you can pick up all that great info there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, leave them in the section below. And if you want more guides that involve Path of Exile or Elder Scrolls or any of those other games that are pretty hot right now, just go ahead and let us know, and we'll try to get that content out to you.